You need to like unmute desktop audio and mic.
Is this working now?
Yeah, it should be good now. Not take it if you have any issues.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Caleb and Brian, everyone who's messaging us. We are back. I think we'll go back to the picks earlier, but for now it will be a Morgana lock-in for Kato Queens, and we assume that's probably gonna go mid.
Yeah, okay, so we kind of have to recap a number of things.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit of time when we have the viewer delay, so...
Yeah, so maybe we just wait to see what this last pick is, then we can run through it.
I am pretty curious. It will be looking like a Galio mid, likely. Nope. Okay.
Oh, okay, so it's the Karma top again, and then...
It will be the Karma top, Galio support.
Yeah.
That is a very good pick against that Samira Leona, actually, with the Galio taunt. Very effective when the Leona tries to go in on you.
That is. Okay, so some of the things we talked about was that Samira was first picked, and that it was on Fashion Rats to kind of punish that with a lot of heavy CC, and now their comp's fully there. We can see they did a pretty great job of that.
For sure.
Vayne, Condemn, Mumu,
Galio R, Taunt, Oriana R, Karma with her root.
It's pretty... She should have a very tough time.
Yeah, that being said, it will be interesting to see if Samira and Leona can punish it early. There will be a black shield, that's definitely very true. And we did see a professional play that the Samira Leona has the capacity to just go in level 1. And that can be pretty devastating. So it will be interesting to see what Galio Vayne takes first ability as well.
Also, the Pantheon ended up going jungle here. So the Mumu will have to be very careful to not run into him at an early scuttle, and I cannot imagine
just die.
Winning that 1v1.
Yeah, it will be a very hard one.
Quick kill.
I'm a little bit confused by chat, but this is fine. Thank you, Brian, for the comment that Leona sucks. I don't think it's a champion's a player, Leona Rose. But yeah. I guess the one pick we haven't really talked about is that Ornn top lane pick. How do you feel about that one, Danny, against a Karma this time?
The Ornn, that should be a pretty boring lane, to be frank about it.
Sure.
But I feel like the Ornn's actually alright because I don't know how much Ornn items were changed, but they still give a scaling boost into the late game.
Right.
So against Vayne and Amumu, you're gonna have a pretty tough time transitioning to late game, so Ornn might kind of ease that more than if they had a different tank pick up there in the top line. It won't look doomed for cattle queens going later into the game.
It is true that someone commented that Ornn can only upgrade mythics. I think that's the one big thing. There are some pretty good options, I would say, for the Ornn upgrades, but it is definitely true. It's also just a very different playstyle compared to Darius, which I think is what Cattle Queen's top laner has been playing the last 2 games.
Yeah, that is right.
Okay, sorry. We are just in pick and bans. We're on the second last pick in game, so we're just gonna be here for 5 more minutes. Yeah. So I guess another interesting thing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, Danny. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let's have to see how much this Pantheon can get done early, because Pantheon does have some lanes you can gank pretty strongly here. I mean, Pantheon can really find kills in any of these lanes.
I think that's true. There are a lot of disengages in CC, but not really escapes from Fashion Rat's side. The Vayne Tombo is pretty negligible for Pantheon gank in that sense. It does feel like it is a bully Vayne Galio early kind of game, though, to me. How do you feel about that?
Sorry, a who bully lane?
It seems like the jungle on Cattle Queen's side should be prioritizing bot side in this matchup, though. As you mentioned, top side could be pretty boring early.
Yeah. If they're... I don't know if they'd be able to execute it. Like if Cattle Queen's able to push in and they could get a dive off with the Pantheon ult, that would really that's probably the best way to bust the game open. But that comes down to execution.
Right. It's definitely true. I do have a lot of faith in the bot lane. It's very exciting. Freya has been playing a lot of Enchanter supports in the earlier games, but the Leona is also, I guess, fits better into the comp right now. For a second, I doubted if the Leona was going top, but it's not. It is viable. Freya has done it, so...
Leona top?
Yeah. That did happen at one of her in-houses.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Reverse sweep. How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about what?
Someone just commented Jerry reverse sweep ? How do we feel about that?
Jerry reverse sweep?
I think Jerry is...
Yeah, I don't know any of the players here, sadly.
Sal. I am a little bit unfamiliar right now. I mean, for it to be a reverse sweep, Jerry must be on Team Fashion Rats.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I guess the question is, how do we feel like the mentality are at this point where it was a pretty one-sided first game and a lot closer of a second game, and now here we are in the last game of the best of 3. Do you feel like there are particular players to be watching or anything like that?
The Cattle Queen's jungler last game went Evelyn, and once again, they're playing another carry on the Pantheon here. And on the Evelyn game, they did not find a lot of success. It was difficult to get anything done because the Evelyn has to get up to level 6 and then she can start to look around, but the Sejuani was just matching everything. The Sejuani had a very, very good game, the Fashion Rats jungler. So it'll be interesting to see if the Cattle Queen's jungler on the Pantheon this time can kind of change that story and actually have an effective early and mid game on the carry.
Right, that's true. It is also true that there's a lot better setup this game, it feels like, for the Pantheon early ganks. There's a lot of lockdown potential in the Leona kit, in the Morgana Q. Even the Ornn has a knock-up to kind of facilitate that point-and-click CC. So hopefully that's something they can play around as one of their win conditions.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like last time, the Evelyn was ganking for a Senna Jhin, and that is... that's very difficult unless the Jhin lands a root.
Right.
And Samir Leona, that's very easy. It's very easy to gank for. And hopefully dive, which we'll see. But a dive would be fantastic.
That is going to be very fun. We are getting ready to go into game, so we will be transitioning into loading screen